Okay, so I don't talk about much music industry stuff here, but yesterday something interesting happened and I thought it was worth reflecting upon. Barrowville rapper Tasman Keith, one of the illest MCs in the country, spoke out because his album is not eligible for the Aria Awards, or at least not the Hip Hop Award. And I tweeted about it. If an album that has great significance to us as a culture is barred from that awards because of administrative restrictions, it's a bad reflection on all of us. And let me tell you why. First, though, I want to give credit to Aria because a few years ago they changed the Urban Award and they split it up into the Hip Hop and the R&B Soul Awards. This was seen as a really good step, and it was done in consultation with a lot of people within the culture who are part of the industry. But at the same time, they made the award have these criteria where you had to chart in the top 40 for your album to be eligible. Not only that, but they changed it so that singles were seen as the same as albums. So you could win from putting one song out, and the rest of the people in that category may not win when they had full-length albums. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I think it's whack, but no one really pushed back against it, which speaks to the general advocacy role that's maybe missing in the hip hop culture and the people that participate in the industry. Also reflects the fact that a lot of people in the hip hop industry here don't give a shit about the ARIA Awards. One of the points that Tasman was making is that the chart system favours physical items like CDs and vinyl. I take it that his album didn't come out on CDs and vinyl, so he relies purely on streams, Spotify, etc. Now, one CD is equivalent to 175 full streams of the album, and on top of that, they minus the top and the bottom songs, and it also doesn't include the songs that have already been streamed outside of the release week. This is an issue. How many times have you streamed an album in full 175 times in 1 week? Now, that logic doesn't completely apply because they rely on so much bigger listener base. But the point still remains, it's a huge amount of streams to equal one CD. Then we open up a completely different side issue, and that is about Spotify, DSPs, etc. editorializing to put songs into particular playlists. So instead of a record store just stocking your CD and maybe put a recommendation on it, maybe stocking more, it really affects the visibility of your music. So if you do not have that playlisting, you do not have that visibility. You cannot get those streams up. This is just a fact of life, and it really underlines the importance of the role that Spotify and DSPs play in editorializing and supporting Australian music that comes from here. What is the value of it? Does it have a value, or can we just put it next to Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, Kanye, etc., and just expect everybody to compete on the same level, even though the budgets that are associated with all of those big international releases dwarf what we are doing here? So it's a completely unfair playing field. It's also why sometimes you'll see Drake has 12 songs in the charts, and why you barely see an Australian artist in the top 50 singles these days. It's the homogenization of culture. So whatever is biggest globally is all that we really pay attention to. It's also why the ARIA charts is kind of irrelevant these days. So if the odds are stacked against local artists to land high in the ARIA charts, but landing high in the ARIA charts is required in order to be eligible for the ARIA Awards, this is a ridiculous situation, right? Why would they want to cut out some really significant art from the main place which recognizes music in our industry? Simple. One of the reasons why you want to pair a single against an album, and why you want to have a high level of chart entry in order to be valid, is that favors the majors. Who underwrites the ARIA Awards? It's the major labels. This stacks the odds closer in the majors' favor, so their artists are more likely going to be the ones who are nominated. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but these are just little ways and techniques of cutting out artists like Tasman Keith. He has every right to be pretty pissed off about that. I've been in the same situation myself. Many of my artists are. And ultimately, the power rests with the major labels. The last thing I'll say is, as much as I don't give a shit about the ARIA Awards, they've generally been pretty receptive, but one thing that is really required is solidarity and organisation from the hip-hop culture from within, so that there can be advocacy work, so this type of thing can be pushed back against, and we can make sure that significant bodies of work, like Tassie's new album, are included there, so it's a proper representation of what's really going on in the culture. It makes sense. Thanks for listening.